Hey, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises
unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Chakadash.
I want to say double honors to our apostles, who are elders, who rule well. Blessings and salutations to you brothers out there teaching and enduring truth and sincerity. This is Rob Mott for the Nebraska camp. This is GMS, any push to the mark, and as well as Fort Nebraska. Yeah, man, we want to do a lesson today. Going over Jew, there's neither Jew nor Greek, but within that subject matter, this is a class and a lesson at the same time, by the way, so we have some younger brothers with us as well. But within this, we want to pinpoint of going over the Greeks, so-called Greeks that were Israelites in Rome. All right, and there's two people that I wanted to pinpoint on. There's the father and the son, and the son is an interesting thing. Anybody know anything about the son? Because we supposed to do studies on it yesterday.
Speaking on Philo.
Yeah.
Philo was like he was a Hellenistic Jew.
No. Ooh, anybody know about the son?
Oh no.
All right, so. The interesting thing about Philo, which is he's considered a Grecian, right? And it's the thing when we're learning and we're edifying, we have to not only remember the dots. School teaches us how to remember the dots, but the Spirit teaches us how to connect them. Okay. And in connecting dots, we have to be like the Church of Berea. Let's get that real quick, Baba Shah. Y'all brothers know about the Church of Berea? Okay, yeah, Church of Berea is a good example of study habits, okay?
This is Acts chapter 17 and verse 10. And the brethren immediately sent away Paul and Silas by night unto Berea, who coming thither went into the synagogue of the Jews. These were more noble than those in Thessalonica, and that they received the word with all readiness of mind, and searched the scriptures daily whether those things were so.
Yeah, so they received the scriptures with all readiness of mind. Let's get that word, get the definition of readiness of mind in the NLT to the statement of that, because readiness of mind is a key word. It's like you're attentive to getting to the bottom of things. You're not just being, like a bird, like a baby bird, just opening your mouth for the food. That's how you start off in this truth. But us as men within this gospel, we have to do what? Be like the Church of Berea. And when we receive information, we have to dig. We have to do our own digging to reassure what's being said. And on top of that, see what we can find out in addition to what we've learned, okay? So I said that to say we can go into, I said that to say that when you look into Philo, which we're going to go over, pursuant to a Greek Israelite that converted to being a Grecian, his son is Tiberius. And Tiberius, anybody know about Tiberius? One of y'all brothers?
The Caesar?
That's Tiberius' son. Or Philo is Tiberius. Tiberius is Philo's father, which is which is an Israelite, strong-boned Israelite, and his son became a general in the Roman army, ultimately becoming an emperor. You know what I'm saying? For lack of better words. So, or a governor, I believe is a governor. We'll get to the information. But so we're going to go into a precept. We'll start off in Romans chapter 1 and 11.
You still want to get that word readiness?
Yeah. And the NLT, Baba Shah.
Okay. All right, this is in the NLT, Acts 17 and 11. It says, and the people of Berea were more open-minded than those in Thessalonica, and they listened eagerly to Paul's messages. They searched the scriptures daily after they to see if Paul and Silas were teaching the truth.
They search the scriptures daily and after day. So you got to open, and let's get that in Revelations. It says, blessed is he who readeth. All right. Get fully persuaded on mind, and as well as study to show thyself approved. All right. So you can, whoever got it, let's get it.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 1, verse 3. Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy.
That's right. So that's one thing, because we're in a time where information is prevalent, and it's just as much information is pouring out there through the internet. There's just as much lies coming out, and the scriptures tell you, let's get that. If it were possible, they would be able to deceive the very elect, because that scripture that I just quoted shows the strength of lies. Okay, lies is a very enticing demon. Okay.
This is,
No, you go ahead.
it says, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand.
Yeah, and keep those things which are written therein. So there's even though we are a camp and we're a body, the scriptures come over everything. You know what I'm saying? And if somebody's going off, you have to have the integrity to know to warn your brother or separate from that brother, however it works. But you got to stand on truth. Okay, truth is above all. It's above emotional feelings. It's above how old you are. It's above bloodlines. It's above order. It's above all that. Okay. Now, order, sometimes when it comes down to order, it could be misconfused, because there are certain orders that are not biblical. Hey, don't go outside at 6 o'clock. Well, ain't no scripture say I can't do that. You go out there and somebody jump the hell out of you. There's no. Sometimes order is beyond what it literally say in the Bible, so we can't have that daddy issue spirit going on, right? So let's get back to what we get into. Slack, before we get back, let's get these precepts. Go ahead. We got the precepts?
Yeah, this is Romans 14:5. It says, one man esteemeth one day above another.
Is that? Yeah. Go ahead.
And another esteemeth every day alike. Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind.
Yeah, every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. Let's get that word persuaded. Okay.
Fully persuaded is Strong's G4135. It says to bear or bring full, to make full, to cause a thing to be shown to the full, to fulfill the ministry in every part, to carry through to the end, to accomplish things that may have been accomplished, to fill one with any thought, conviction, or inclination, to make one certain, to persuade, to convince one, to be persuaded, to persuade, to fully convince or assured.
Yeah, that goes into getting to the bottom of it. Okay. You shouldn't be able, somebody just tell you something and you be like, that sounds good, and then you just roll with it. No, if it triggers your spirit, then you're supposed to reassure it. Okay. If you find a city, you got to reinforce it with walls. And that city is information and breakdowns, okay? And so when you receive those breakdowns, you're supposed to say, oh, shit, that's fire. Let me go and research it, okay? Cayenne pepper helps with the blood flow. Oh, that's interesting. I'm about to look up cayenne pepper, the components. Why is it good? Why is it not good? And you start learning things, okay? So,
You mind forget this precept?
I don't want to drag past it.
Okay.
I just want to get these three and get back to what we're talking about.
Okay.
This is 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 15. Study to show thyself approved unto the Most High, a workman that needed not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth.
Yeah. So there's and we got to get to the Strongs to that, because there's a couple of words there that are not, it sounds like it's saying one thing, but when you get to the Strongs and the definitions, it breaks it down. So we're going to get rightly dividing. Okay.
I have that. It's Strong's G3718. orthotomeo, which says to cut straight ways, to proceed on straight paths, hold a straight course, equivalent to doing right, to make straight and smooth, to handle aright, to teach the truth directly and correctly.
That's it, to teach the truth directly and correctly. Because sometimes within the Bible, there's scriptures that'll be on this side and scriptures that'll be on that side. All right? And you have to rightly divide, meaning you got to know which way to choose. There's a time to gather and there's time to refrain from gathering. There's a time to, pick up stones, not pick up stones. Time to kill, it's time to make alive. There's a time and season under heaven for everything and purpose. So when would you know to go left and go right? Okay, and it's ultimately the Lord's will. But you have to study. You got to be into these scriptures to know how to pick the right path as you're going. You know what I'm saying? This is almost like the Oregon Trail for us. Any of y'all know about the Oregon Trail? Yeah, it's a little computer game, and every choice you make leads to your next path. And we're supposed to use the scriptures via the will of the Heavenly Father to execute that. All right, so with that being said, we're going to get into Romans chapter 1 and exemplify that, okay?
So, Romans chapter 1, starting at verse 11.
Yeah, verse 11.
It says, "For I long to see you, that I may impart unto you some spiritual gift, to the end ye may be established."
Yeah, so Paul is writing a letter to the Romans, and he is in Corinth as of right now. Okay, this is his third mission, okay, which was his last mission before he was arrested and taken to Rome, ironically. Okay, so he went from Corinth, which is where? Anybody know what Corinth is? Is it in Israel? Is it in Greece, or is it in Rome? Which one?
I believe that would have been in Rome.
What you got, Nathan? Nathaniel Salakia. Is it Greece, Rome, or Israel? Where's Corinth? Greece. Absolutely correct. Okay? So this is very, very important because he's in Greece writing a letter to Rome. Okay? That's just like if I'm in Texas and I'm writing to people in Trinidad. All right? But why is he in Greece? Because he's dealing with the churches in Greece. So when we read this letter, he's going to be talking to both parties at the same time, or referencing both parties. Okay?
So Romans chapter 1 verse 12, it says, "That is, that I may be comforted together with you by the mutual faith, both of you and me. Now I would not have you ignorant, brethren, that oftentimes I purposed to come unto you, but was let hitherto, that I might have some fruit among you also, even as among other Gentiles."
Yeah, so he's telling the Romans that. Because where is he right now? In Corinth, Greece. Rome is west of him. Okay? If you could say anything, pretty much Rome would be in Mexico right now. Right? From where we are demographically. Not saying it's the exact same distance, but it's the similarity of communication. I'm going to come down there. I pass through Mexico every once in a while. I go up to Canada every once in a while for my missionaries. But I'm writing to y'all while I'm in Nebraska. Now I'm going to be working my way, hopefully to make my circuits to pass through and see y'all again. But I'm about to go hit Florida. When I go hit Florida, I get arrested and get deported to Mexico. Okay? So this is how things was going and how the conversations was being had. All right, and this is, a lot of Christians don't understand these things. So when they hear Gentile, Greeks, they just assume it's just talking about Edomites. You know what I'm saying? And it's not. He's talking to churches that are in these places because he's clearly of the tribe of Benjamin in Corinth, Greece, dealing with a church there because the churches were taking care of him. Okay, Ephesus, all right, which is in Turkey. Okay, Ephesus. We had Galatia. Okay, all these places that he was visiting. When you go into Acts, he went from the islands of Kos. His mission started in Antioch. Okay, Antioch, which is, you know, borderline Turkey, Syria. You know, Turkey is above Israel, if that makes sense. Syria is Israel. Okay, that's that same land, and Turkey's like the landmass above it. All right, so he started in Antioch. He worked his way into Greece, to Rome, and then he circled through the islands and then came back up to Rome. Okay, but it's a long trip to say the least. All right, so let's continue on.
It says, verse 14, I am debtor both to the Greeks and to the barbarians, both to the wise and to the unwise.
Yeah, so everybody like to get the Greek. Well, who are the barbarians? What is anybody, y'all brothers know what the term barbarian, what it means when it says that? What comes to mind when you hear barbarian? What'd you say? Wild? What you got? Nomad? Barbarians, let's get the definition, Baba Shah.
This is Strong's G915. Barbaros, it says, ones whose speech is rude, rough, or harsh, one who speaks a foreign or strange language which is not understood by another.
Yeah, so somebody that don't speak your language. That's what it breaks down to. A barbarian is just someone that, you know, if you're Roman and you got somebody speaking Portuguese, or, you know, there was mainly Latin, Greek, and Hebrew with a predominant 3 languages. So what if somebody didn't speak that? Then they'll be considered a barbarian. Or mainly if you didn't speak Roman, the Roman tongue, you're a barbarian. Okay? And that's the same way Americans think. If you don't speak English, you know. I remember watching this video and they had this one Edomite was telling, man, you know, you need to learn how to speak English. He was like, man, my bad, this is my 3rd language. You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't understand. It's like, you know that aspect. They just get so arrogant to think that, way you need to talk my way better. You know, and that's, you know, I ain't gonna say that's how Rome was, but if you went to speaking Roman, you was a barbarian to them. You know, or Latin was which was their language at the time. Okay, so let's continue on, Baba Shah.
God says, so as much as in me is, I am ready to preach the gospel to you that are at Rome also.
Yeah, so where we at?
Verse 15.
Let's go back to 13.
Okay, verse 13. Now I would not have you ignorant, brethren, that oftentimes I purposed to come unto you, but was let hitherto, that I might have some fruit among you also, even as among other Gentiles.
Yep, you go ahead.
I am debtor both to the Greeks and to the barbarians.
Yeah, he's a debtor to the Greeks and also to the barbarians. Okay, so let's get that word Greek, and this is where we're gonna land our plane, and we're gonna, you know, become like the Church of Berea. Okay.
The Strong's G1672.
You got to turn this way or speak up, either way, brother.
Strong's G1672. Helen. It says a Greek either by nationality, whether a native of the mainland or of the Greek islands or colonies. In a wider sense, the name embraces all nations, not Jews, that made the language, customs, and learning of the Greek of their own. The primary reference is to difference of religion and worship.
Yeah, and the brother made a great point yesterday in reference to, not the Jews portion of saying, pretty much that Israelites didn't conform, even though if they got a part of, but that just Esau trying to throw bones into information. It's pretty much a Helen, which it says when you see Greek there, it's either Helen or Hellenistas. Okay, sometimes it could be anybody. It's just a person that went from one country and traded their citizenship, and pretty much you got your green card, or you became an American citizen. You know what I'm saying? And you defected. Like I said, you go to Cuba and you defect over here, and then you do whatever you got to do to become a citizen. That is, you're pretty much a Hellen,
yeah,
according to the Bible, and or according to its definition and its essence. All right. So that's what it's in reference to. But people just see Greek and they just be like, oh, there's neither difference between Jew nor Greek. No, it's just talking about there's no difference between y'all who grew up in Israel, knowing all the laws and keeping the laws, and y'all who who defected and now are coming back. There's no difference, because the fact that the Greeks or Hellenes were able to come back is a glory unto Yahweh Shem Yahushai and the doctrine. You know what I'm saying? Because it shows mercy, shows the power of forgiveness through sins. It shows the power of his sacrifice he made, okay? And it puts all those things in perspective, okay?
If I could,
yeah.
You gotta put yourself in the times, because you think today Greece is just one little country, but in this time, Greece encompassed a lot of different countries. North Africa, are they Greeks? Lebanon, are they Greeks? Syria and Asia Minor, are they Greeks? Ethnically, you would say no. But by nationality, you would have to say yes, because they were conquered by the Greeks.
Yeah. Yeah, at a point, Israel became a part of Rome. Israel was Rome. But we all know Israel is a whole different country, land, culture, everything. But when King Herod died, he made Israel a state of Rome. At first, we was forget what you call, like a client, yeah, a client state. Okay, like you pay taxes, you will help them when it's time to help them, but it turned into we became a part of Rome. All right, they engulfed us. All right, economically, that's just like how Russia is annexing Ukraine. Okay, if they were to fully annex them, because it was Crimea, they annexed. That's what started all that stuff going on in Russia and all that. Well, Crimea was being annexed by Russia. Pretty much, they were agreeing to be a part of Russia. All right, it's just like another example is Omaha. Omaha constantly encroaches on different parts of itself, of Nebraska, you can say. I think we were talking about a while ago how Sarpy County and Omaha are having a fight right now on who's going to be the representative of Omaha.
Yeah.
Because it's spreading out. Omaha gets, what happens is the city starts getting big and it starts spreading out, and it pretty much engulfs all neighboring counties. And because there was a point in time, people didn't just roll out to Sarpy County, but because Omaha is extended so much that Jake is pretty much all the way out west on 100 and something, and it just constantly starting to stretch out in them areas, and a lot of businesses and transactions and things like that. But let's get to what we're speaking on, which is Philo of Alexandria. Okay, so I'm gonna see here. Thought I had something.
I did get that distinction between Tiberius.
Yeah, but I wanted Philo Alexander. We want to throw each other off.
Okay.
So, what the hell? I had it in my my little. Matter of fact, I think I got it in my notes. All right, so I got a little piece, and I'm gonna read, and I'm gonna let brothers read what they got, and then we'll just dig into it. Okay. So Philo of Alexandria. The point of this was reading it because we went over Greeks, and the spirit was just like, hey man, well I wonder who were the popular Israelite Greeks. Okay, just like you got popular American Israelites nowadays. All right, that would never claim that they're Israelites, but are Israelites down to the blood, right? So if they're popular people now, they had to have been popular people then, okay? So that brings us across Philo of Alexandria. It says he was a Hellenistic philosopher who lived around 20th century BCE. He's pretty much, writing books, things like that. See here, it says his major theme include the nature of the Most High, things like that. He was living around the time of I believe it's Caligula.
Yep.
And Caligula, that's between 5 and 50 BCE.
Mm-hmm.
Guess who was running around at that time or moving around? Yahushua. Okay? So the Lord's moving around at this very same time as Philo of Alexandria is moving around. So keep that in context, because the Lord's preaching the doctrines of what? Repentance and the redemption into Israel. And then right after that, you have Paul, which even though Philo passed around 50 BCE, that's still around the time where Paul and them was dealing with the Gentiles. Okay? So this is a good home spot to show you how Israelites, and this is him right here. You can see he looks like a Jake, man. You know? And he was a noble, okay? I went to reading about him. I did an AI search, I did a couple of search, but I ain't gonna lie, Wikipedia landed this time. They normally don't land. It says, the only event in Philo's life that can be decisively dated, and it's talking about him in Caligula. So I'm going to get to the next paragraph. Philo was a leading writer of the Hellenistic Jewish community in Alexandria. Okay? Can someone get that? Baba Kushai. Matter of fact, I'll get it. All right. It says the history of the Jews in Alexandria. Anybody know where Alexandria is? Very easy answer. Huh?
In Greece, right?
No. Good. I could get where you're coming from with it. But remember what the brother said, that Greece was taking over everywhere, right? It even took over Africa. Alexandria is in Egypt, okay? Because you had the library of what? Alexandria, okay? So that's there was a temple built there as well, and that temple was so prominent it was argued whether the Israelites should go there or to the temple in Israel for the three feasts of the year, and Israelites even went to those temples to celebrate those feasts, and that's a big thing because we are supposed to go to the temple that our forefathers built. The Israelites was even opting to go out to the second temple. I think I forget the Jupiter, the temple of Jupiter or something. You know, don't quote me on it, but there's a temple in Egypt because there's a strong population of Israelites in Egypt during the time of Yahushua. And that's another thing because these are context clues. When Tiberius, Vespasian, when they sacked the temple, when they sacked the temple, Israelites fled into the wilderness, i.e. Egypt, and then they flowed into West Africa, okay? So that's going to the Ark of Titus, all right? That's when we fled into the wilderness, i.e. West Africa, through Egypt. All right, and you can understand why they would go into Egypt. That's the second home. You can't go into Israel because y'all done sacked that. What's the next place I can go that's safe? You know, you want to go into the Levant, dealing with the Persians. You don't know what time they on. You done been fighting with them for years. You've been cool with Egypt for the longest, and we're talking about culture-wise where they accept allowing us being Israelites because the Septuagint was also written in Egypt, okay? Which is proof that they were accepting of our laws and our nature. All right, so going back to the history of the Jews in Alexandria dates back to the founding of the city by Alexander the Great in 332 BCE. Jews in Alexandria played cultural roles in political and economic, cultural, and religious life of Hellenistic and Roman Alexandria, with Jews comprising about 35% of the city's population during the Roman era. You see? What is that proving? That Israelites were in Egypt, they were in Greece, and not only that, but they was there during the time of a lot of the Hellenistic period of Jake converting and turning to these other nations. Matter of fact, let's get that in Maccabees chapter 1. Okay.
This is First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse, I'll start at 10. It says, "And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been a hostage at Rome. And he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. And those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us."
Yeah, because Antiochus Epiphanes was monumental in the charge of us being Gentiles. Okay, he actually forced us convert. There was times when we was forced, and like I said, a lot of Jakes, because you're talking about Babylon, Assyria, these empires, Persian Medo Empire, Medo-Persian Empire. Jake were self-willingly going into these countries and serving them gods. Okay, I forget what king, but there was a point that a king won a battle and he started worshiping different gods and gave it, and the Most High smote him, because he started giving praise to the other gods when in him as an Israelite, knowing it was Yahweh Shem Yahushua the whole time. Okay? Jake be getting bugged out like that, man. Talking about kings of our people were doing it. So how much more you got, Billy Joe that can't rub two nickels together. Babylon was like a big old, bro, that's like New York, man. You know what I'm saying? Imagine you in a country, Israel, it's like being in the backwoods, and then you see New York right across the bridge. The land of hope and opportunity. All right, your little cousin Moo went over there, and now she's a movie star. Okay, so this is like the energy. So Jake was willing going over there, But let's get back to it.
Okay, so it says, "For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow."
Yeah, so these other cities, mainly in this time, Rome was happening. Rome had the power, they had the sauce. And if you depart from their ways, then you're not going to be successful. It's the same in this society. The more successful you are to be in a society, the more you're going to have to incorporate yourself. You're going to have to get the laugh. You're going to start wearing your outfits. You're going to have to start cutting your hair a certain way. You're going to start having beliefs a certain way. And the higher you go, the stricter and stricter it's going to get to where you're going to have to become American. Right? People make so much money that they won't speak on the truth because that's how it works. So it's not like you could be able to move all the way to the top. And ask Kyrie Irving and Nick Cannon how that worked out for them. And they lightweight. They ain't even saying everything down in its core. Okay, they just say watch the movie. They ain't telling you that his name is, the Most High's name is Yahweh Shai. Same thing with IUIC. That's why they're so compromised. They gotta, in order to get that bag, you can't speak on a name. You can't speak about these integral events and breakdowns in the Bible, because that goes against the American way. So is that it? That should be it today, because it's a reading itself.
Yeah, kind of.
It says, so getting back to the Wikipedia is in Philo were in Alexandria. Okay, so it says the Ptolemaic period. All right, are you guys familiar with the Ptolemaic period? Okay, there's the Ptolemaic Empire and the Seleucid Empire, brothers. Which one is the Ptolemaic Empire?
That was up in Egypt.
And what was the Seleucid Empire?
In Syria.
In Syria, which is Israel, okay, or the area of Israel. That's Iran, Iraq, all that. That's why we say Syria, because Syria kind of, encompassed that whole area, okay? So the Ptolemaic Empire. Side note, y'all know about Queen. What's your girl name?
Alexandria.
Cleopatra.
Cleopatra.
Yeah, Queen Cleopatra. Y'all know about Queen. You know, and a lot of people associate her as being a Hamite or African, which she's nowhere near being that. Her father was an Edomite. One of the Ptolemies was the father, and the daughter. More than likely, he married one of the pharaohs. You know, but he was marrying them. Cleopatra. She was, I think, it was like Cleopatra the 5th or the 4th.
Mm-hmm.
That was the one that everybody talks about. That's the 5th or the 4th. What about the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd? They were just bumping from the Ptolemaic Empire to the Seleucid Empire, and they was marrying the Cleopatras off to make deals. Okay, so that's just a little side note. But continuing on, it says in the Ptolemaic period, Alexandrian Jews played a role in the development of Hellenistic Judaism. Okay, which is a word in itself, Hellenistic Judaism. This is let me start. This is the Church of Berea. All right, you're making pit stops everywhere to get to the bottom of things. Okay, Hellenistic Judaism was a form of Judaism in classic antiquity that combined Jewish religious traditions with the elements of Hellenistic culture and religion until the early Muslims' conquest of the Eastern Mediterranean. All right, and what is Hellenistic culture? Another rabbit hole. We're going to have to back out this rabbit hole. We're getting kind of deep. But, this is how it works, okay? And one of the first things they show you is the statue of Nike, the Greek goddess of victory, okay? Everybody love their Nikes. They have people walk up to you got Nikes on. It's a fuck up. It's like, man, I believe in the Lord. So that's a Gentile thing. I can't wear Nikes. Well, technically, I shouldn't be wearing them, but the Lord ain't gonna come down on me for wearing no damn Nikes when I believe. You know what I'm saying? Now, in essence, that's a damn near form of idol worship. If you want to really get technical about it, because that's just like me wearing, a Hercules, yeah, white Jesus, white Jesus shoes. White Jesus came out with shoes, and I'm wearing his shoes and shit. It's like, oh, you wildin'.
Decrease those
But
incentives.
we've come to a point where Nike isn't upheld by Jake as an idol,
Right?
but it's in a way it is, because the niggas are killed behind that shoe.
Yeah.
It's created a different culture, but not like them niggas is like, oh, Diana, oh, God is a victory. They're not doing that. They're like, nigga, run those shoes. Nigga, it makes me look cool to wear these.
You're not like mentally attached to the actual idol behind it.
Yeah. But the idol turned into a different thing. It's
Kind
a fashion or whatever,
Transfigured.
Yeah.
Nike gang type.
Well, that's
That's
a whole nigga shit. That's just low level nigga shit.
That's the third level.
Yeah, that's the -3.
Yeah.
Backwards.
Sub level.
There's a gang out here that use Nike as their logo, which is the dumbest shit ever. Like you use the most popular. Like that's, I guess it's guerrilla warfare, because you just blend in with everybody. Hey, well, how the fuck would you do that?
Guerrilla warfare, that's
Let's get to it, man. It says Greek culture was at its height of world influence in Hellenistic period. Hellenism, or at least Philo-Hellenism, reached. Then that's another word. I ain't gonna go into, but you see what I'm saying? Most regions on the frontier of the Hellenistic kingdoms. Though some of these regions were not ruled by Greeks or even Greek-speaking elites, Hellenistic influence can be seen in the historical records and material culture of these regions. Remember what I said in the beginning. It ain't got nothing to do with nothing of them just always coming over. Y'all gonna be Greeks now. They seen New York. Oh, I love it. I'm about to start, wherever the l'chaim they started, wherever they thing is, a little slang and things of foods, and they got the little shoes. You know how Jake is. They're walking with the new togas that came out that year, and they're coming in Israel and they feel like they fresh. Cause again, it's a consensus gentium. If everybody believe it, it must be true. So everybody says this is the wave. then you're gonna really feel like that's the way.
Yeah.
Okay, just like BBLs. It's like, you know, it's just because everybody that's popular doing it, they're gonna do it. You know, and it has no common sense, no nothing.
But they say keeping up with the Joneses type of energy.
Yeah. So it says we're gonna go back to Hellenistic Judaism, right? It says Jewish religious. It says Judaism is classical antiquity that combined Jewish religious tradition with elements of Hellenistic culture, meaning Israelites were adapting to Hellenistic ways, okay, Greek ways, Assyrian ways, Persian ways, okay, until the early Muslim conquest of the Eastern Mediterranean. The main centers of Hellenistic Judaism were Alexandria in Egypt and Antioch in Turkey. Remember, what was Paul teaching? Where he first started out of? Antioch. That's where he first started preaching his last missionary from. And he went through Antioch a lot. Okay? Antioch came from Antiochus. All right? It was created by Antiochus. Okay? It says the two main Greek urban settlements of the Middle East and North Africa, both founded in the end of the 4th century BCE in the wake of the conquest of Alexander the Great. Hellenistic Judaism also existed in Jerusalem during the Second Temple period. That is pivotal. There is no difference between Jew nor Greek. This is what it's talking about. Why did they say that Hellenistic Judaism existed in Jerusalem during the Second Temple period? Because of Antiochus the Great. All right? Antiochus made, matter of fact, let's get that. Antiochus made and forced our people to not claim themselves as Israelites. And some of our people, as the brother was reading, was so forward that they got licensed to do so. Did we read that?
Yeah, we read it. There's a little bit more to it that
Yeah.
backs up the point, though.
Yeah, let's get that.
I'll read back from verse 11. It says, in those days, 1 Maccabees 1 and 11, in those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the customs of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief.
Yep. So let's get that portion where Antiochus made it a law. Okay.
Okay, this is, let me see, verse, 1 Maccabees 1 and 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and every one shall leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols, and profaned the Sabbath.
Yeah. So they put off their culture. You know, being an Israelite ain't just, only by the blood, is our culture as well. Just like being a so-called, like blacks do. Being a black ain't just looking black. You got to know how to dance. You got a lot of requirements to be an Israelite. You got to,
You gotta know the movies.
Yeah, you got to know movies, in all Israelite culture, man.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, from the Hispanic to the native, if you native and you can't eat spicy food, you off. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's certain little stuff that our culture attaches to, okay? And that's how it was in those times, all right?
Hey, brother, do you mind if I get this excerpt as far as the Hellenists?
Yeah, if you got something.
This is off of the jewishhistory.org. It goes into the Hellenists just to back that precept up and the point the brother's making. It says about the year 200 BCE, there arose amongst the Jewish population a group called Mishyavinim, meaning Hellenists, who adopted Greek culture as a way of life to such a degree that almost invariably they gave up their Jewish culture and identity.
There you go. So what happens? That's in what BC?
That was it said about 200. This is about 200 BCE.
This is after. All right, this is 200 years after. No, this is before.
Okay.
Yahweh Shai. All right, this is 200 years, 233 years before Yahweh Shai. This is 200 years of Hellenism popping off. You know what I'm saying? This ain't 10 years. This is 2 generations.
Yeah.
Damn near. It only takes 1 generation for you to forget who you are. You know, if your grandmother was raised a certain way and she was tormented for being an Israelite and she vowed to live like an Edomite, you know, just like I was making a reference, I see it a lot in you know, Hispanic households where certain households they don't want you speaking Spanish in the house, right? Because they want you to be assimilated to the American culture.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So imagine they do that, and it's 100 years of that. You know what I'm saying? You're not even gonna have anything associated with Hispanic culture. Okay. So this is what was going on with our people, and then you're looking at them, and you're like, man, you ain't no damn Israelite. And then it got even worse to the point they didn't even know they was Israelites. Some didn't even know. You know, some probably think that they was, you know, from Philistine or Ham, or some probably didn't even know who they were. You know, because it was all, you know, just because you dark skinned don't mean you African. It's another thing, you know. But I'm gonna jump down to this next paragraph. We're gonna back up and get this important information. I read real quick. It says the major literary product of the contact between Second Temple Judaism and Hellenistic culture is the Septuagint, okay, which was written again where in Alexandria, Egypt, and it was orchestrated by Ptolemy Philadelphus, okay, and I forget the librarian he hired. Who y'all know the librarian?
Onias?
Was it Onias?
I don't remember.
But it was a librarian that talked Ptolemy Philadelphus into putting together the Septuagint. And the Septuagint means 40.
70.
Yeah, 70. I think it was like 72.
Yep.
But it's 70 elders. I think it was like a certain amount from each tribe that equates to 70. You know, that got them that number. Okay. So
Demetrius.
is Demetrius?
Demetrius that fell around.
Okay. So continuing on, the water, by the way, brother.
Okay.
It says the major literary product of the contact between Second Temple Judaism and Hellenistic culture is the Septuagint translation of the Hebrew Bible from Biblical Hebrew and Aramaic to Koine Greek, specifically Jewish Koine Greek. The brother, I forget the brother's name. He out there in DC, man, did a beautiful lesson going over Koine Greek. Brother should listen to it, be edified. But I'll go into that term, you know, through the Spirit. Okay. So when you go into Jewish Koine Greek or Jewish Hellenistic Greek, all right, to put in simpler forms right out the gate is just like saying, Edomites say what's up, we say what's am, what's popping. That's pretty much what we were doing.
Okay.
So Koine Greek was that. It was just slang Greek that Jake, you know, was putting together. It's just like different. Our English is not the same as Great Britain's English or Australia's English. Okay, different Spanish. You know, Portuguese and American Spanish, and you know, like I was speaking to this one cat at my gig. I was working at a restaurant, and you know, you deal with Issachar, and I'm trying to ask for stuff, and they start telling them, and I started talking to this one chick. She was in school and she was taking Spanish class, and I said something that the Spanish person taught me, and she was like, "No, that don't mean that." And I was like, "Well, I looked it up and it do." It's like, no, that's Mexican Spanish. I'm talking about English Spanish. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, y'all got the audacity to like, but that's how it is. It morphs, okay, just like Portuguese, okay. It's a form of Spanish, but it's not the same. All those Spanishes aren't the same, you know. So it's the same thing with Koine Greek, regular Greek. Koine Greek is just nigger Greek. That's all you want to put it in Lame's terms. But we'll read it real quick. It says, Koine Greek is the variety, Hellenistic Greek, Jewish Hellenistic Greek is a variety of Koine Greek or common Attic sound found in numerous Alexandrian dialect texts of Hellenistic Judaism, most notably in the Septuagint translation of the Hebrew Bible and associated literature, as well as in Greek Jewish texts from the Levant. The term is largely equivalent with Greek of the Septuagint. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much into it. They don't really go into it too much. I just don't want to skip over nothing. All right. Slakia, I'm gonna read this. It says the minor syntax and vocabulary variations in the Koine Greek of Jewish authors are not as linguistically distinctive as the later language, Yavanic or Judeo-Greek, spoken by the Romanite Jews in Greece. You know what I'm saying? So there's no difference between neither Jew nor Greek. It gets a little bit more clear the more we keep diving into what we were doing there. Because this is the thing, Esau omits truth, okay? He'll say that Edomites were Greeks, but he ain't gonna tell you that Jake was in there doing the same shit. That's why Jake is getting mad about this Gladiator 2. When that's history.
Yeah, right.
That's actual history of not like literal with that situation, but that was happening. That's not no far-fetched concept. All right.
You even had Edomites coming out confirming that there was Jakes that was ruling during that time. You know.
Yeah, and we're about to get into one of the main pivotal people right now. So we're gonna back up. It says, okay. So once we went into Hellenistic Judaism. We'll back up to all the way back up to my guy Philo. Okay, so Philo of Alexandria. All right. He was a philosopher, you know, doing his thing with the Jewish law. So once you go into his children, okay. I forget where I found it. Let me see. Yeah, we're gonna go into his life. All right. It says in his life, it says Philo's dates of birth and death. They talk about that, how he was. I'm gonna go down a little bit. It says Daniel R. Schwartz estimated his birth year as almost between 15 and 10 BCE. Philo's reference to an event under the region of Emperor Claudius indicates that he died between 45 and 50 BC. Okay, he could have lived before that. That's an estimate of 15 and 10 because when he was speaking to Claudius, he referenced himself as an old man. Okay, so you know, Esau give you a date, but it don't make it concrete. He wasn't there. All you do is get what they do what we do, and then they just write a book and put a circle with an R in the middle of it, and it makes it true. It says the next portion is family. It says although the names of his parents are unknown, it is known that Philo came from a family which was what? Noble, honorable, and wealthy. It was whether his father or paternal grandfather was granted Roman citizenship. You see, he was a Roman citizen, all right, or Roman dictator Gaius Julius Caesar. Jerome wrote that Philo came the John sacerdotum from priestly family. his ancestors, where he was from a priestly family, his ancestors and family had social ties and connection to the what? Priesthood in Judea, the Hasmonean dynasty. So he's deep in. He ain't no just regular nigga. He's Shaft. All right? He got that type of, Judah, right? It says the Herodian dynasty and the Julio-Claudian dynasty in Rome. Okay? It says Philo had another brother, Alexander Lysimachus, who was the general tax administrator of customs in Alexandria. He accumulated an immense amount of wealth, all right? He had so much money, he was loaning out money to Herod, okay? But I'm gonna get to the point. It says through Alexander, through Alexander, Philo had two nephews, okay? Salakia, I said that was his son, but it's his nephews. Through Alexander, Philo had two nephews, Tiberius Julius Alexander and Marcus Julius Alexander. Later was the first husband of the Herodian princess Berenice. Okay, it says Marcus died in 43 or 44. Some scholars identify Alexander Lysimachus as the Alexander references the book of Acts, who presides over the Sanhedrin trial of John and Peter. All right, which is interesting. That's another, But we're gonna go into Tiberius. All right, we're gonna stop by him, then we're gonna wrap it up. All right, it says Tiberius Julius Alexander was an equestrian governor and general in the Roman Empire, born into a wealthy Jewish family of Alexandria, but abandoning and neglecting the Jewish religion, he rose to become the second procurator of Judea under Claudius, while prefect of Egypt in 66 through 69. He employed his legions against Alexandrian Jews in a brutal response to ethnic violence, and was instrumental in the Emperor Vespasian's rise to power in 70 AD. Because he participated. This is all I'm about to say. He participated in the siege of Jerusalem as Titus' second in command. Okay,
Damn.
Because what's the Apostle Sahar went over it, and he just mentioned Tiberius. Okay, and he went into him. Philo is his uncle, and it's proof that Philo is an Israelite. So it's proof that Tiberius is an Israelite, right? Because you are who your father's. All right, so if I'm your uncle and my brother is your dad, you're an Israelite. All right, that's just man to man to man. All right. So with that being said, Titus often gets credited for the conquering and the sacking of the Second Temple, when it really was Tiberius. Okay, Tiberius, just like Jacob, there was Gadite scouts that would help catch other Israelite slaves and other Gadites. It's the same thing with these niggas. They work their way up into the Roman armies and places, just like, hey, y'all gotta watch the movie, but Jacob worked their way up the system, man, through snake stuff, through fighting, through warring. All right, because Jake was about their business in that time, man. They just didn't have the same opportunities. Okay, it says Jerusalem. It says it's an Alexandrian Jews in a brutal response to ethnic violence, and was instrumental in the Emperor's Vespasian rise to power in 70 A.D. He participated in the siege of Jerusalem as Titus' second in command. He became the most powerful Jew of his age and is ranked as one of the most prominent Jews in military history. And he's the person that sacked the temple, ironically. All right, but it was through Vespasian, Titus, and them, through all that, and he pretty much just like I said, man, Esau hired our own people to hunt down our own people, and Jake just obliges. I gotta take care of me. That's probably what he was saying. So yeah, that's pretty much it's more to it. There's a whole lot more reading and digging. That's up to y'all, for y'all to do it. Y'all should be y'all should be ready to dig some more and bring something to the table. All right, because we are all one body, and we should have something that we have to offer to the plate. Anybody else have something else? Let's get that. There's no difference in neither Jew nor Greek, and then we'll close it on out.
This is Romans chapter 10 and verse 12. It says, "For there is no difference between the Jew and the Greek, for the same Lord over all is rich unto all that call upon him."
Yeah, so there's a whole track record history behind that. We kind of went over certain elements, but we really pinpointed on proving that there were Israelites that assimilated into Greek culture, all right, in many ways, becoming generals, philosophers, and speaking Greek, okay, in those ways, all right. So yeah, that's pretty much it, man, on this lesson. And whether your brothers want to continue after that, but we're going to close out. With that being said, I'm going to give all praises
unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Chakadash.
I want to say double honor to our apostles who are elders who rule well. Blessed salutations to you brothers out there teaching and enduring truth, sincerity. Shalom.
Shalom.